With Super Smash Bros. Brawl coming in just a couple days, you're probably wondering how some of the characters will fare. Which characters are good, and which characters are bad. You're probably wondering how the tournament scene will play out. Will it be just as exciting as Super Smash Bros. Melee? I've asked some Melee tournament veterans to help me analyze Brawl before it comes out in just a couple days. Tony Dennis, better known as Gimpy Fish to the Melee community, has won several Brawl tournaments already on the Japanese version of the game. He's a longtime veteran who's also known for using the low-tier character known as Bowser. Joey Aldama, better known as Lucky in the Melee community, has won a countless number of Melee team tournaments and has done well using Sonic in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. What are some of the things people should know going into playing Brawl competitively?
Well, if you're coming from Melee, it's a completely different game. The physics and everything is like completely different. Everybody's floaty, everybody attacks slower, and there's like no lag if you don't complete the move in the air. So there's like no out cancels. A lot of stuff is gone from Melee, but if you're starting Brawl fresh, it's like a completely new game. You'll like it a lot. It's fun. It's easy to pick up and everything.
What are some of the mistakes you see people who play Melee do in Brawl? Is it just trying to wave dash and out cancel, or are there some other things?
There's a lot of stuff. I think wave dashing and out cancels are the biggest things, but there's also little things like pivoting. It's slightly different in this game. Jump cancel grabs are a big mistake that everybody's making, and there's still like just simple stuff for Melee. It's like the little things that count.
I wanted to talk to you about two characters you use. First, Sonic, and it seems like Sonic's going to be a very popular character among newcomers. What should those people know when they pick up Sonic for the first time?
Right now, Sonic has to be one of the hardest characters in the game to pick up. Although he is really cool looking, he's fun, but he's got to be one of the lower tier characters. He's pretty bad, he can't kill easily. He's fast, but he's very hard to control. His moves are slow, they have a lot of startup lag, and he's not all that fast. But he has fast range speed, but his moves come out really slow, so he's not exactly one of the better characters.
The other character I wanted to ask you about was King DDD, and it seems like you've been able to exploit the famous chain grab now, which is the only infinite that I've seen in the game. What are some of the things people should know going into using him?
DDD, anybody that's about bigger than Kirby, you can pretty much chain grab, and you just push like down, and then you grab again against the wall. So like anywhere with the wall, you can just down throw, grab, down throw, grab, down throw, grab against anybody that's bigger than Kirby. And pretty much DD's a pretty easy character to pick up. He's pretty high tier in my opinion. I think he's maybe one of the top 5 characters in the game, and he's really fun to play with. So he's a character to try out.
For someone who's making that jump to the new game, what should they be looking out for?
Just in comparison to Melee, you mean?
Yeah.
Melee, at this point in its life, you have to be technical, otherwise you're not good. Since we're so young in Brawl's lifespan, that's obviously not as important just because the tech skill isn't, it's not as available because we haven't really discovered it. There has been some stuff coming out though. There's some really cool things like reverse pivot grabs out of a dash. You can do dashing turnaround back airs, so you can just approach people with your back airs, which is really good with like Toon Link, for example. There's a lot of technical skill, but at least at the base level, initially the game seems to be more about like a spacing battle. You're trying to fight for the spacing. You're trying to. It's more like, I really hate this phrase mind games, but it's just about intelligent play and some level of mind games, even though honestly at this point the average skill level of everyone is really low. But there are a lot of good players out there for sure right now.
What have you done in the 3 tournaments you won, and you got to the finals of the 4th tournament? What have you done to get there? Is there something that you've taken advantage of while you've been playing?
Well, honestly, after playing Melee so much with such a bad character, The new game, Brawl, really seems to play to a lot of my strengths from the old game. I'm pretty good at adapting to different play styles, which there are just a billion of with Brawl right now because nothing's been really established as being a dominant kind of play style. Spacing is really important, which is something that I did really well in Melee. The problems that people are having as far as frustrations with the game, you don't know what moves have what hitboxes. So players will be jumping into attacks that they don't think are going to hit them. They're not going to know how much lag is on moves, so they can get punished by certain things. And just in general, people don't know a lot about the game, and I feel like the reason that I do all right is because I probably know the most about the game right now, even though I don't own it.
The one thing I wanted to talk to you about was some of the characters in terms of recovery. I noticed in Melee, there's some good recovery tactics by a lot of the characters, but in Brawl, you're talking about a character like Pit has 3 different ways to come back and really deep recovery tactics. And how does that change the game, or does it?
Well, the biggest thing about the new recovery system is the automatic sweet spot. So passive edge guarding, like you would do in Melee, it doesn't work really at all. Where passive edge guarding, meaning you're standing on the stage swinging at the edge, that will not work. Except for with a couple of exceptions. Day-to-day can't really sweet spot on the way up, neither can Sonic. There's a couple exceptions to it. But in general, edge guarding is either go out and get them, or stay on the stage, let them recover, and then, try and regroup in the middle of the stage.
I noticed the character that a lot of people are going to be using is Meta Knight, and you use him pretty well. What should people be aware of when they use him for the first time?
First time using him, like I said, I really thought he wasn't very good. I mean, I saw potential, but I had so much trouble killing. A lot of people talk about how his kill moves, he has some kill moves. Pretty much the best advice that I would have would be don't just keep swinging, which is what a lot of the random people, their problem is they just keep on swinging, like they just constantly are doing moves. Brawl is a lot about patience, a lot more about patience. It's a little campier than Melee, I can admit that. It's a lot more about patience, and swinging your sword all around, even though it seems like you have no lag, is punishable, and you just have to play smart. I mean, it's the same thing as if you're playing in Melee when you're playing with the character that people think is an easier character. Low-level players of that will simply spam moves and won't go anywhere. The same thing's going to be true with Meta Knight, because a lot of people think Meta Knight's really easy, but just spamming moves isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to play patiently in space.
How do you see the tournament scene shaping out? Is it going to be a lot of new players coming up to the forefront, or are we going to see the DSS, the Kens of the world, still take first and second place?
Initially, I'd say for sure the Melee crowd is going to have a huge advantage. Players who played smart in Melee will continue to play smart in Brawl. It's the same game conceptually, though the technical aspects are very different. Initially, it's going to be people who can adapt quickly, people who can realize that it's not Melee, embrace the new physics system, embrace the new air dodge system. People who can do those things initially are going to be doing really good. Eventually, just like we see kind of in Melee, it hasn't happened in a while, but there are players who have been springing up, like Mango, for example. Hasn't been playing for that long, and just suddenly is doing amazing things. He's winning. He won Pound a while ago, taking out, as a Mewtwo King, Chew, pretty much every top player in the nation. And that's going to happen with Brawl, but it's not going to happen right away. It's going to be a slow process. I mean, probably the best player who plays Brawl that we've seen that's not like a, ranked super high up Melee player is Psycho Midget, but he was really, he still was good at Melee. It's just not the same kind of game.